Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. I'm proud to support a budget that will deliver a cleaner, a safer and a fairer Harrow. And I'm proud to support the corporate plan that sits behind it. Because for all the talk about the wrong priorities, I looked in vain for an amendment to those priorities when they amended the corporate plan. They just looked at changing the introduction. I'm also proud of a budget that freezes council tax. When we put forward our budget in December, Councillor Satchin Trump was very angry. And you don't want to make him angry. He said it was a reckless and irresponsible budget. So he got out a cigarette packet and started to work on an alternative. Now he had about 90 days to come up with that alternative. And in those 90 days, he came up with roughly 21 changes. He's very keen on working out things by the hour and by the day or whatever. So that works out at 2,160 hours. Which basically meant it took him 100 hours per change that he's proposing. Now, to be fair to him, Madam Mayor, he did have to start again last week when he suddenly found out the difference between revenue and and having had to start again, I understand why he's so obsessed with bins. Because having to throw out 3 months' work would make me bitter about bins. I won't be mentioning them a lot. But we're talking the difference between revenue and capital. We now need to work on teaching him the difference between contingency and actually spending money on things. We'll get there eventually. We did it with one, we'll get it on the other. If you have a contingency, it doesn't mean you're spending the money. It just means there's a pot of money there potentially in the future to use. What we are proposing in this budget is actually spending money on the people of Harrow and on their needs. We could also explain to them about reserve policies and how you shouldn't write individual things into reserve policies, so I don't think that's a good idea. So he had 7 days, and that meant he had to come up with 3 things a day. And what things? We talked about it, contingency, planning enforcement, well they cut that in the first place, now they're trying to put it back. Under one sky, well that's all that money for 1 day, despite the fact that they're then taking out of the capital budget all sorts of improvements in parks that will last for years and years and years. They talk about putting money back in for community payback, despite the fact that they did it. And they also talk about replacing the chief executive, but they want to take management out of public wealth. You do wonder what they have against clean streets. They are determined they can't go a single year without cutting our budget. Even in 21 changes, they find a way of doing it. And finally, on their capital budget, they want to reduce improvements in IT. Well, Madam Mayor, they've done quite a lot to reduce improvements in IT. I really don't see how they could do more. But perhaps when Councillor Henson gets up, he can explain to me how they can further reduce the IT service that we will get. Their amendment is ridiculous, it's crazy, it wasn't thought through, they didn't take enough time, ours were thought through, went through scrutiny, and I commend it to the Council.